Hi guys, welcome back to Coffee with Kyra, episode 2. Woo! I just wanted to say really quickly, thank you so much for all the love on episode 1. Like I said, this is my baby, and just the support, how everyone stayed respectful and nice in the comments really made my day. So thank you so much, and thank you for coming back to round 2. Today, we are joined, at least in my opinion, by one of the strongest women I know to walk this earth. Some of you may know her as the mom who makes the vegan chicken wings that literally break the internet every single time I post about them. Breaks the internet. Everyone wants them. They're the hottest commodity in the vegan world. Others may know her as the happily married wife, mother of 3, that you may or may not see her doing fun TikTok dances. Does she always want to do them? No. But she is a ride or die. She's a real one. She does all the things with her family, especially when her kids ask her to do them. True. Others may know her as the head chef of Your Spicy Vegans. And yes, we are working on a cookbook, guys. Give us time. But yeah, slay. She is like the best ever when it comes to vegan cooking. You guys already know. But I know her as the heart, the soul, the glue of this family. Honestly, without you, I'd be scared for all of us. Because seriously, growing up, this woman, she makes everything happen for her family. She is the lioness, I always say. And if her babies are in need, from when I can remember, she gets the job done. So I love you so much for that. And I'm so happy that my beautiful mother is here today as our second guest on Coffee with Kyra.
What an intro. Thank you, baby. And I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. Did you watch episode 1?
I watched it. It was amazing. I was so proud of you and Daddy.
I was proud of him too. It took a lot to just come on here and it really, be as open.
Yeah. He was fearless. You were fearless. And I know it's not easy putting yourselves out there.
But now you are, and we're going to get into it. And like I said, I want this to be
an open book, baby.
I know, but we're going to be unfiltered here. We always are. We're going to talk about some deep things today. So stay tuned. As always, I like to say, it's not for clicks, it's for awareness. And we want this to stay as safe a place for everyone as possible, including our guests and our friends behind the screen. So please stay respectful in the comments. All right. Did I miss anything in that intro that you want to let the people know before we dive into these questions?
Wow. I'm also a dog mama. I love my 2 chihuahuas.
Ozzy and Domino.
Yeah. And no, I think you pretty much hit it.
Cool.
That was very awesome.
Well, I always like to start at a little base level and just kind of do a wellness check. How are you feeling emotionally in this moment right now?
I'm feeling amazing. I always love supporting you guys, my children. You guys are all rocking and rolling in the world and doing some really amazing things. I'm feeling inspired, excited, and down to do the work with you guys to make sure that you succeed.
Yeah, and I mean, you're doing amazing things. You're literally like mom and dad of TikTok right now. Everyone's always like, can I have your mom or dad? I'm like, I'm cool. I'll share them. Like, I'm always the creep on the wall. I always say to you guys that I'm just filming them in their love and just catching them in those beautiful moments. I know they post their own videos on TikTok and they have their Spicy Vegans page, but I think I get those like hidden behind the scene moments that are just so vulnerable and genuine. And like I said, I'm a little creepy because I'm just like in the corner filming them, but I'm always in awe too because I want that one day. And I think a lot of people see that and they would want that too, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like where I am right now, honestly, is I've lived so many lives already in my 55 years that
55. Come on.
Woo. I really feel like I'm in a new life right now since we moved here 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we moved from New York to LA after over 30 years in New York, where we raised these guys. Now I'm just really devoting my life to what I'm really passionate about. I made a deal with myself at 50 that I was going to only do what filled me up, that was fun, that I was passionate about. That is, you know, what I do by day is I'm a life and relationship coach. By night, I'm a vegan or plant-based chef for Your Spicy Vegans on YouTube.
And 24/7, a mom who probably gets about 500 FaceTimes from me on daily to get advice and ask for help or vent or cry or whatever my crazy Pisces booty wants to do.
It's not just you. I get them from all.
I think that's a good deal of what you said by 50, that you're just going to fully pour into your own cup. And I think don't wait until 50, y'all. Do that right now. I think that's just a great way to even start this.
Yeah.
Is like, do what makes you happy. Going back to even your relationship, and everyone's seeing this beautiful relationship online. People sometimes say, oh, that can't be real, or it's perfect. How is your perfect relationship so perfect? Would you say that you have the perfect relationship?
Well, it's kind of like how I say I have the perfect children. Y'all are not perfect, but you're perfect for me. Daddy's not perfect, but he's perfect for me.
Yeah.
It's not about being perfect ever, because perfect is boring. Perfect is expected. There's just no fun in it. There's fun in the bump and grind of learning life and doing it with your partner. Daddy and I have made a commitment to one another almost 35 years ago. This is going to be our kiss-iversary.
And that's
soon.
crazy too. Like, I want to go to, what did you just say? 35 years?
Yeah.
35 years. So let's bring it back to the start of this love story.
Yeah.
You know, I think you're a big teacher when it came to how I dated people. And I remember you always saying, you know, when it came to dating and all that different stuff, you're like, yeah, girl, shoot your shot. But you always taught me the breadcrumb rule. And I kind of, that's a tongue twister. Breadcrumb rule. And I want to go into it. Like, how did it come about that you and my dad started talking and flirting? Like, how did you put it into motion, or did he just come for you? Like,
oh no, he did not come for me. Oh,
but
no.
Did you ask him out?
I'm the one who laid down the breadcrumbs.
Okay, so let's get into it. What do these breadcrumbs look like?
For me, I wanted to have someone pursue me, and I wanted to make it, I didn't want to be easy, and I wanted him to feel like he had to work for it. And to be honest with you, to this day, I make him work for everything.
As he should. Because you are a queen. You literally, like, as he should.
A lot of times, men specifically, sorry, Rosebud over there.
Sorry, my brother. Yeah, he's over here producing again. So if you ever see me looking at him, there he is. Yay!
Men need to hunt. They need to work for it. They need to be spanked when they don't do it right.
Are we getting kinky?
No,
Slow down.
No.
This is PG-13.
No, they need to work for it. So when I saw Daddy back when I was 20 years old, and I had been in and out of deep like with someone from the time I was 14
and
on.
he broke your heart. She wrote him a whole letter putting all her emotions out.
We don't want to talk about it too much. We don't want to give if he listens to this, I don't want to give him any sort of airtime.
And that's going to a lower vibration. Everything is an energy transfer. We don't look at the past, especially past relationships that weren't good. We're on to the next thing.
Well, what we do is we look at the past and we cherry pick what we love. And then that becomes our story.
Yeah, and you take the lessons and you keep it moving.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically I saw Daddy in college when I was 20. It was love at first sight. I never knew that was a real thing, and I never believed in it. But
where did you look at him?
I looked at him in his eyeballs.
Where were you?
I was at what
were you wearing? What song was playing?
Okay.
I want everything.
So I was in class with his sister, who was a year younger.
Yeah.
So she was in class with me. Daddy was in class above at a different section of the college. In one of our electives was putting on your own fashion show. And so we had to hire professional models, get clothing from real designers out there. We had to set the stage. We had to sell the tickets. And what we did was we opened up the auditioning for models to the rest of the school. So
were you a model?
I dabbled in it.
But like for the show, were you a model?
No, I was a choreographer.
What was Daddy?
Daddy, we hired him as a model. So Daddy
was the model.
So I was at the end of the runway.
That's already a boss move.
Yeah. I was at the end of the runway auditioning the models, and they would walk towards me, and it was a very long runway, and I was at the end, and all of a sudden this man comes out, and I look at him, and we lock eyes, and I was literally, I kid you not, I fell into another universe. I'm not even kidding. I was obsessed and like possessed for about 2 weeks.
Whoa.
He walked down the runway, I looked in his eyes, and they were the most gentle, warm, loving, deep eyes. I had an out-of-body experience.
Had you been in love before?
Yes.
So it just was it a different feeling, or you're like, I know what this feels like. I've been in love. I already feel in love, or was it just something different?
This was before I even researched and read about past lives and all that stuff. But it was like I knew him. It was like he was already. I had already loved him. He was already protecting me. He was someone that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. We eventually broke up. But.
Well, we'll get into it. But we're. Yeah, we'll talk about that. I freaking block that out sometimes. Like until you say it, I'm like, no, that didn't happen.
It happened.
Yeah, my parents broke up at one point. That's literally insane. Weren't you friends with his sister too?
I was kind of like
acquaintances. But she helped you a little bit.
We
in
were
getting
acquaintances. Well, she helped her brother because she knew that I was bomb ass bitch. And she wanted someone like that for her brother. He was just partying like it was 1999. And Danielle really wanted him to slow down. He was getting great grades, so his parents weren't saying anything, but he was just going to school all day, staying up all night, partying all night.
I get it from my daddy.
When I met him,
slow down too, though, but
when I met him when he was 21, he had never had a drink before that or anything else for that matter. So yeah,
no, I mean he was
a church boy.
We heard his story. He was letting loose, as you should. I think everyone always needs to go through that phase of just being cray cray. You learn your lessons and you keep it moving. So what next? You know, let's fast forward a little bit. You guys are talking. You approach him, or he approaches you.
Well, in the fashion show, because I was a choreographer, he was one of the models. We set up the end because back in the 90s and in the 80s, the last people to walk the runway at fashion shows was the bride and the fashion designer. So the fashion designer came up to here and was not hot, so I didn't want him walking with me. But I made myself the bride and I made Daddy my partner.
You literally manifested this in a fashion show and it came true.
I did. When we were rehearsing for this, the weeks leading up to the fashion show, I choreographed this very intricate thing that we had to practice over and over again, and the end was him dipping me. I made
really taking things fast here, mommy.
I made sure in those rehearsals that I wore the sexiest heels, the cutest outfits. My hair was all cute. It was like 90s and big and curly.
So he asks you out at the end of the fashion show, I'm guessing. Like that's what would happen in the movie.
Fast forward to the fashion show. We did the fashion show.
Yeah.
It was hot. It was just Sinead O'Connor, put your hands on me.
Okay.
And we walked down the runway and everything. Then when we were packing up and putting all the clothes away and giving them back to the fashion designers, we were sitting there. It was just he and I. And he said, "Can I kiss you?" And I was like,
I love that he asked.
"Yes, you may."
I'm an asker too. Like sometimes people are like, oh, just go in for the kiss. Asking makes it weird. But I always think it's like, that's a respectful thing, especially to a lady.
Well, I was like, yes, you may. And it was a great kiss. And that was 1988, November 30th.
I love that you know that date. That is the cutest thing ever. I love this love story, but of course, there is no perfect love stories. For me, were there ever moments dating my dad, being married to my dad, you know, that you have thought maybe this is not my forever?
Absolutely.
Wow, that was quick. That was a quick answer.
Absolutely.
So, like, why?
Because I grew up, my parents did the best they could.
Yeah.
But I definitely saw what I didn't want growing up. Whenever we would do something or he would do something or I would feel a way that triggered me to feel like this was going to be like my parents, I just decided that I wasn't going to do that. It gets a little hairier when kids are involved.
So you're kind of saying moments where you felt it was like your parents and you are a child of divorce.
I am.
That, you know, and when did your parents get divorced?
When I was pregnant with Tori, when I was 26.
So adulthood, I feel like that's really hard. Oh, see, they got divorced later. It was just kind of not the best situation growing up.
It was a situation that obviously worked for them until it didn't, but I wanted something different.
So what made you feel sometimes like with Daddy that he wasn't maybe the one?
Just if I started feeling that I was being overlooked and not heard and not seen and that my needs were not being met. If there's anything that I've learned through the years is that no matter what, I'm going to put me first.
Now let me ask you this. Does that statement stay true once you start having kids?
It does. You want to work.
Like that. Okay.
Yeah, you want to work harder to make it work because that's what children want to see is they want to see their parents not just together, but in a loving, happy relationship because the worst thing you can do is stay together for the kids and it be shit. You know?
So when you would, at these moments when you would kind of feel like, okay, I'm not being maybe respected or this is not what I want, how did you work through those moments? I mean, you're still together, so.
It would normally be because Daddy's really not one to talk about, he'd rather not talk about that kind of stuff and just kind of like wait till it blows over. And I'm the opposite.
Sweep it under the rug, yeah.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, we're going to talk about this and we're going to talk about it now. I had to learn how to approach him in a way that didn't put his back up against the wall and wasn't disrespectful to his space, you know? So instead of saying, we need to talk now, I'd really love to talk and make how I'm feeling better when would be a good time, you know? So
yeah. And I mean, he always says stories though of even him sometimes having to say to you, like, oh, that's not how we speak to people that we love, you know?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So my dad was a kick-ass businessman and provider, but he really got the job done in a way sometimes that was aggressive, you know, that was really in your face and aggressive to get the job done.
Yeah.
I learned that from him, and I learned that you're either going to be the attacker or the attacked.
Yeah.
I decided at a very young age I was going to be the attacker because
That's how you protect yourself.
I was going to protect myself. Yeah. So I had to learn with him that it's not, when we had disagreements, it wasn't about winning, because if I won and he lost, the relationship lost.
Yes, very
so
true.
it was really about us winning together and speaking in a way that is kind to each other and respectful. And in the beginning, I was a little explosive.
Yeah, I think you both brought things from your parents that you did and didn't want when raising us.
Right.
You know, like I think that Daddy, he did grow up in a very like loving household where there was so much love and you talked respectfully to each other. So I think even growing up as siblings, we couldn't slam doors. We couldn't say I hate you. We said I loved you. You guys always, you know, when we would fight and have arguments, at the end of the fight, now hug. And you know, me and my sister would just be like, you know, and but we would have to hug. And it just, I think from that young of an age taught us, this is how you deal with issues. This is how you deal with conflicts. If you truly love someone, you don't want to just fight to win. You want to fight to find a common, you know, place.
Well, it's conflict resolution.
Yeah.
You know, and it's how to do that so you both win, so you both feel heard and loved and protected and honored. Yeah. But, you know, when you're young, you kind of learn, you know, we all learn by example from our parents.
Yeah.
And then when we become adults, it's really on us to decide what works for us and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And if there's healing that needs to be done, it's your responsibility as an adult to find that healing, find that support.
And going into parents, you know, coming from such two different backgrounds. You are Caucasian, Jewish. He is a black man, Christian upbringing. So how did your parents feel? Because I feel like you didn't get married young. You didn't start a family young, but you definitely were still, I feel like your parents didn't accept it. They were kind of like, you guys don't know what you're doing. This is not smart because of your differences. And at that time, it wasn't as accepted. Oh, you're going to have kids and they're going to be biracial. How are they going to fit in? You know? What were their reactions like, and how did that make you feel? And how did you guys kind of push through that and find strength to say, no, like, this is what I want?
Yes. In the beginning, the families were not thrilled, except for Derek's dad.
I love Pop-Up. He's the best.
He was just like, I don't care what you look like. Is if you're a good person, you're good to my son.
Pop-Up always goes, if you're black, white, polka dot, rainbow, alien. He's like, I'll love you if you're a good person. I'm like, you know what, Pop-Up? That's how everyone should be. If everyone was like Pop-Up, this world would be so much better.
Yeah, so much. Everyone would love each other. Yeah, but you know, Daddy's mom wanted a strong black woman for him, and my family wanted a Jewish man for me.
And that's because of their own upbringings and their boundaries. Or, you know, sometimes even I think when parents say that, like you and Daddy definitely, even with me, have told me at times like, I don't want you to do that, especially Daddy growing up. And sometimes it wasn't the wrong thing for me to do. It was just in his mind, you know, what he thought might hurt me in the future. Like it wasn't even control my way. It was, I don't want to see you get hurt. Don't do that. But it wasn't always right, you know?
Well, the truth of the matter is that even when you have children and you want to steer them in a direction that's less painful for them, I've had my life experience and I was raised by my parents at a certain time with certain, you know, in a certain situation or whatever, but you're living your own life experience. And although I can pass on words of wisdom if they're asked for, that's what we learn as parents. Don't speak unless you're asked when they're adults.
Exactly. I was about to say
when they're adults. It's not a don't speak thing. Like Kyra doesn't go, shush, mommy.
How dare you speak to me like this?
But, you know, it's like you don't want to you want to let your child live in their truth and not put your judgments and limitations on them, which will restrict them and blur them from really listening to their gut and their intuition and going after what they believe is best for themselves.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a hard pill for Daddy.
I think it's hard for any parent. Like once you have kids, like especially the mom, we grow inside of you. And, you know, it's like this thing that you've created, especially with this other person, and then you're just letting them go out into the world. And I could see that being terrifying. Like I want kids one day. I understand why me and my dad didn't get along for so long, because I might even be that kind of parent where I'm like, oh, I have to tell you everything, what's right, what's wrong, do this, do that, because I don't want to see you freaking fall on your face or get hurt or get heartbroken. Like that first heartbreak, are there any moments that you feel like growing up that you wish you could have saved us from? You know, like if you could have been like, I wish you didn't have to go through this and I wish I could have stopped that from happening.
Really feel that all of the lessons, even the painful ones, really help define what it is we truly want. And each time we stumble and fall, we get clearer when we get up about what we want.
Yeah. So you ain't gonna take away any of my pain? If you had the gift?
I think
if you had a superpower right now, you wouldn't take it away?
No.
I honestly like that answer.
No.
Because, yeah, I feel like the more shiz that you go through, the better of a person you become, you know, truly.
Well, it's about self-awareness. Yeah. And as we grow and experience life, we get more and more self-aware, hopefully. Hopefully we don't turn off our emotions and kind of like turn into a zombie. Same shit, different day, and these old repeating chronic habits that don't serve us. Yeah. But hopefully we continue to learn about ourselves and make decisions as we go that are more specific to what's really going to make us happy.
Yeah. I think the crazy thing, though, that keeps people sometimes in that loop of just doing the same toxic stuff is like it's almost comfortable. It's almost a safe place. It's almost
comfort
like
zone.
You're used to the pain. You want the pain. Like the pain is comfortable. And that's a scary place to get into. I've definitely been in that place before where I'm like, I'm miserable. And it weirdly felt good to stay there.
But I know how to do this. I know I'm safe doing this, even though it's making me miserable. This is comfortable. This is safe. This is familiar. And the problem with that is that we get so comfortable and our fear grows so much for what's beyond that comfort zone that we just stay stuck like quicksand.
Yeah. Through motherhood, what do you feel like? Do you think that changed you in a lot of ways? Or do you feel like you were ready for motherhood when it happened? Do you feel like what things really were like, oh, this is changing my life for the better or for the worse, you know? Like,
yeah. So my adult life was, I would say, I guess we're adults when we're 18 until the time I had Tori at 27.
Yeah.
So I had 9 years to sort of flail around, figure it out, not trust myself, not listen to my gut, be totally disconnected from my intuition, and really was very insecure about the decisions I was making. And also the approval of my parents was very heavily weighted on my shoulders. Yeah. And although that was there, I was still going to do me, which is why I stayed with Daddy. So I was doing me, but I was desperately trying to find my autonomy from my parents. And it was really, really hard. And I actually had a lot of physical issues in my early 20s until I had Tori. And I had IBS. I had a form of anorexia. I almost didn't make it to my own wedding because I went down to such a low weight. I was just inside, just so, discombobulated. And then when I got pregnant, I was like, holy shit, how am I going to do this? I was 26, but I felt like I was 16. I did not
my age.
I did not feel ready.
Oh,
I did not feel ready. I was terrified. I was so sick, throwing up like for months. But then something interesting happened when I had Tori. All of a sudden, it wasn't about me anymore. All of a sudden, the mama lion in me was born. I was like, when I was 25, I felt like I was 55. I felt so old. I was so stressed out. It was hard. It was really hard. My parents were divorcing. I was, trying to like get married and have a baby and everything. And
so you have Tori and
so I have Tori. Something switched. All of a sudden, I said to myself, and I remember this, Daddy stayed home for like 2 weeks to help me take care of her. And then he went back to work, and I looked in the mirror and I said, I'm going to listen to my gut from now on. And I literally have been doing that since. And she gave me my power.
Big sis, do you hear that?
She
freaking did that.
She was my partner. She gave me my power. I turned into a woman. I was no longer a girl. And I all of a sudden was born into like this fierceness that I have just been basking in since.
And that's just so freaking beautiful. I have watched, and thank you for being so open about all of that. I have watched, people get pregnant, and it truly like just changes their everything because they realize, oh, even if I want to mistreat myself, my body, my life, now there's this thing growing in me. It's not about me. It's about making sure this human that I'm about to give birth to is being brought hopefully into the most peaceful, loving atmosphere that is possible. So I love that. So you have Tori. It's this life-changing experience. You're in tune with yourself. You're trusting your gut. You're being badass bitch that I know because I wasn't born yet. But before I was even born, you got pregnant again.
So yeah, we knew that we wanted more than one child. We knew that we wanted to keep going until we didn't want to go anymore.
Yeah.
And so we didn't use any protection. And lo and behold, when Tori was about a year old, I got pregnant again. And we were like, So excited. And I hadn't gotten my period again because I had just stopped breastfeeding and then I got pregnant again.
She said back to back to back to back.
And so when I was about 4 months pregnant or so, we thought, I went in for a sonogram. Just that's what you did, So you went in and we were all excited. And I can't remember if Tori was with us or not, but the sonographer was just looking at the screen and then she's like, I'll be right back. And then the doctor came in, or the head sonographer, whoever it was. Yeah, they told us that it was an issue. And we were at St. Vincent's Hospital, New York City, which is a Catholic hospital. Mm-hmm. So to them, it was only have the baby. There was no choices back then. Mm-hmm. For that hospital, it's a Catholic hospital. So they said that it wasn't a viable pregnancy. And they said,
and it was going to put you in danger.
That the baby would probably not even make it to 40 weeks. And if it did make it to 40 weeks, it would not make it to being even a teenager. That would be like a vegetable. It had severe spina bifida and hydrocephaly. And there was a big, huge hole in the spine, and that it would really potentially make me hemorrhage at some point in the pregnancy, which would be life-threatening.
So obviously, with it being your business, you made a decision that was best for you. And do you feel like with this big light of having your firstborn and having that life change, that this kind of took maybe this dark turn to...
Not reminded me, but it taught me that it's not going to always run smoothly. We didn't even have this in our mind that it wouldn't work. We were already in love with this baby because we were in love with Tori, and we just saw this was like another Tori.
Yeah.
It was like such a shock, and I was so angry at my body, angry at...
Do you feel like you blamed yourself at all, or?
Yes, I think my body is just going to be there for me and do what it's supposed to do and grow the baby and have the baby, and then when things don't go as planned or as they're planned in my head, it was shocking.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of women blame themselves and just are super hard on themselves in that moment, but a lot of women go through that, and I think it's just this hard experience where there is a lot of judgment on what you do, what's best for you, and all these other opinions, and the hardest opinion is the one of yourself, but you have to do what's best for you. And I just want to say, it's never your fault, and it's just something that you went through.
And that's what most women think when they don't have a pregnancy, when they, that works, or they have miscarriage after miscarriage, that it must be something that they deserve or that was their fault. And it's really not,
Mm-hmm. And then I came along. So there are 2 girls in this family. My older sister, who honestly is like a second mom to me as well, because growing up, I started modeling and traveling and doing the things, and my parents were working and stuff. So sometimes my sister would come with me instead, and it was just always so much fun. But do you feel like you were so excited to have girls at the start? Did you want boys or did you want girls?
I was told...
Don't listen, Riley.
I was told that Daddy's family only has boys and that there were so few girls. Like his sister was like a fluke or whatever. And there was just no girls. And everyone was looking at my stomach and feeling it when I was pregnant. Oh, it's a boy. It's a boy. It's a boy. It's a boy. It's a boy.
You're like, so I want to prove all of you wrong.
Well, no, I was just like, I guess I'm having a boy, okay, whatever, And then when we didn't know the sex with Tori, and then when she came out and they said it's a girl, I just cried because I just thought how amazing that I never had a sister, and I just thought
sisters are the best. That's my biggest thank you for giving me number 1 siblings. I love you, broski. He was side-eyeing me. Yes, you were. There was something about having a sister where it's just it's the most beautiful thing ever.
Yeah. So, that's why. So I was so happy to have a girl. I was just over the moon excited. I would have been excited either way, but I just thought it was incredible. I'm the oldest and I'm a girl. And I just think when the girl is the oldest, she is going to really mother the rest of the children that come along.
Yeah, she's a second mom for sure. But I mean, of course, then your next big mission was to teach us the woman dance. Right?
Well, first of all,
what is the woman dance? Do the people know what the woman dance is? Can we explain?
I was going to say,
legendary.
I was going to talk about the woman dance, even if you didn't ask me about it.
I'm bringing it up right now. Okay, I'm on it before you.
So one thing I did not learn that my mother did not teach me was to feel empowered and sensual, that female power. So I vowed that if and when I had daughters, that I would teach them to own their shit. to own their
body, feel good.
Yep. And just feel empowered by their divine feminine energy. And so we used to love disco, and we played it all the time for you guys. So Donna Summer came on. Was it Love to Love You, Baby?
Mm-hmm. And every single night with our family, it was always a dance party. Yep. Especially when we were little, even when we were super tiny, our parents, obviously supervised, would like put us on the table. So we were like eye level with them, and we would just freaking go every single night, you know? And just, it's also probably how you tired us out to like get us to go to bed.
Well,
but we would just be hitting, you know?
Well, at like 5 or 6 o'clock, when the work day was over, the school day was over, we would lock the door, we would put on some music, and we would just have a dance party.
Literally.
And it was how we all connected, how we just like released that energy from the day. Mm-hmm. It was fun.
And then my mom would come up to me and Tori, and she'd go, "Okay, woman dance. Woman dance. Woman dance."
Donna Summer was, to love you, baby. Yeah. And so I would just have them start moving slowly. And then I would have them feel their hips move and close their eyes and put their hands through their hair and just feel their power. Yeah.
Yes. And we literally like my favorite thing that I'm going to do with my daughters when they can move and stand.
Well, no, you guys were walking at 10 months. So you were 10 months and Tori was a year and a half or whatever.
Still bald?
You were bald for a very long time.
Well, you can just imagine I was chubby too. That's why my name is Smushy, like my nickname, because I was like chubby and smushable. I could just imagine like
what you
bald-headed, chubby, smushy.
She had a little. No, you had like a little afro on the top, and then you had baldness all the way around like a monk, and then you had a fringe of fuzz again on the bottom for like 2 years.
Swag. I could pull any other baby on the court. I said, "You like this hairdo?" But no, woman dance is legendary. Yeah. If you guys have daughters and they're feeling a little insecure or whatever, sometimes teach them the woman dance. It's okay to feel good and love yourself.
Just put on and not only that, but like honor yourself. Yeah. Celebrate your body. Yeah. Celebrate your female energy, your power. Yeah. We make humans.
Yeah, and I remember my brother with my dad. They would do what would they do?
Man dance.
What was it? Okay, yeah.
No, it was like that. Yes, it was. Yes,
Riley,
it was.
Riley said, no, I think
it
was
like
not.
That. It was not. It was not like that. He was like,
that's inappropriate.
Yeah. Yes.
Riley thinks you're wrong. Riley's saying it's this.
Ask Daddy. Nope.
Get your mind out of the gutter, mother.
It's not in the
gutter.
I'm
telling you, it's PG-13 on here. Stop pelvic thrusting on my podcast.
He wanted Riley to feel his power.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. So even more like, okay, so you have these babies, these biracial babies. Were you scared when we started going to school and interacting with other kids? And I remember we went to a private school when I was really, really little. And I'm not going to lie, I think there was like one other girl in my class that was my skin color. And I personally, before you even answered, did I think have my own inner issue sometimes of like knowing where I fit in and like the other kids. I had an afro at the time, you know, they all had like the straight hair and they would always want to touch it and weird things like that. Like, were you worried having biracial kids?
I mean, I never picked the path that was the easiest path, and I really was true to who I wanted to be and the kind of family I wanted. And when you go out into life, there are lots of reasons that kids get ostracized and picked on and bullied and, you know, separated from the pack. And I just knew that whatever color you were and whatever ethnicity you were, I was putting into you some badass great kids. I really could give two fucks if anyone didn't vibe with what you guys were bringing to the... And no, I didn't.
Were you worried?
I was not. And I'll tell you why. And that's one of the reasons why we chose to raise you guys in New York City, because there was so much diversity.
It's like a melting pot of everything.
We did send you to private school, and unfortunately it is very homogenous there, where it was mostly Caucasian, which I was on the diversity committee, and we did.
And she got us that scholarship once again because she's a lioness, and she walked in there and she said, "My kids deserve to be here."
Yeah, and it wasn't just for that. It was also because you guys were very smart. You know, so straight A student, by the way.
Okay, now you're doing this again. You know, Daddy did this in the last episode.
I mean, you know,
I love trying to say you weren't a straight A
but it's
student.
Something to be very proud of.
I was just saying an example of something. You don't have a mic, Riley. Riley.
And that's when we insert the clip right there.
It's something to be very, very proud of. And we always used to tell them, you use the B and the B, the beauty and the brains. You use everything that God gave you and you be proud of it. Don't shy away from it. Step into your glory. Work it. Use it.
Work it. Is it worth it?
So,
Let me work
yeah.
it. I put my thing down
Okay.
and reverse it.
And the thing about New York City too is that, you know, you have these $1 million homes on the block and these low income housing on the block. I felt like you guys would find your place. And whether you were one of the few ethnic kids in the class, shame on the school, and we got more in as you were there.
Yeah, because I remember there was one moment where my sister had really long curly hair, and I think one of the boys in class, like her hair brushed his shoulder. And what the principal brought you in, and she was like, yeah, so Tori's like, her hair is distracting some of the kids, some of the boys. It's doing this, it's doing that. Can she wear a ponytail from now on and wear a bun or something? And I remember, what did you?
I said, no.
Absolutely.
Absolutely not. Yeah. And they always want, you know, society always wants to dim that person down so that everyone else feels better.
But what did you say about Tori? I remember you saying just like, I want her to love herself. How would this make her feel if she has to put her hair up and hide it?
Well, no,
because
they
it's
want
making other people uncomfortable.
She had long curly hair, and the little boys all had crushes on her, and her hair would bebop around, and when she'd go past them, they would brush against them, and we were told that the boys were feeling a certain type of way because her hair was touching them, and could she wear it in a braid down her back? And I said, absolutely not. I'm not going to shame my hair shame my daughter, because little boys are not being, you know, talked to about what is actually happening, you know, with their bodies when they see a girl that turns them on, even if you're in 4th grade.
Some people might say that's too soon.
Sexuality happens immediately. It's normal. That's a human being.
Yeah, I know.
And so what I was not going to do is allow someone else, aka a teacher or a student, to shame any of my children into thinking that anything about them should be hidden or braided or put away.
Yeah, coming to sexuality. I mean, Daddy talked about it on here in the last episode. What was your immediate, like he always says, you know, you were like, and was it really just, had you met other bisexual men? Had you dated other bisexual men? Was it really just like a whatever, brush off the shoulder kind of thing? Or was there something in you that was slightly for a second like, oh, but like I have to react in this way because I do like this person? Or were you truly just like, it's whatever?
Okay, so where I grew up, there was almost no Jewish people, and there was like 1 out of 500 or 2 out of 500 kids in my high school that were black.
Yeah.
I never had a black friend. I never had a black boyfriend. I never had a bisexual boyfriend. I didn't even know what that meant
until Daddy said
until
it.
Daddy. I was like pretty much, you know, clueless. I was not raised around a lot of diversity.
I mean, so many women at that time though would have been weirded out, grossed out. It's done. Like, ew, what is that? Why do you think, even though you were raised in such, it sounds like a conservative place, not a place that had a lot of diversity, that you were the rare person at that time, at least, to be like, okay, that's cool, that's whatever, I'm still attracted to you, I still like you, you know? Like, it would really, even to this day, so many girls are like, I could never, when I talk about it.
I don't get that. I honestly, and it's not something I had to come to terms with or get used to or get icked about at all. Daddy came to the table as himself, and it was so foreign. Everything about him was so foreign to me, and I loved it. It was so interesting and intriguing and beautiful. And
because he was being free in himself. And I know, like, when I meet someone like that, it's like invigorating. It's like, it almost makes you want to do it as well.
I knew that he didn't feel comfortable in his own skin when he was telling me, and you know, he wasn't out yet, you know, and I knew that I felt totally okay with it, and that having my love, support, and acceptance really unconditionally would give him the freedom to, you know, to be fearless. And he just needed that little extra push.
You knew that you could be that for him as well as him being that for you.
Yeah, because he represented the entryway to the most beautiful life that I could ever dream of. Seriously. And that is seriously what we continue to work hard for and grow.
Yeah. What was the last fight you guys had? Whether it was like light?
It's always about you guys. It's always about the children.
You guys don't fight about each other. It's always about us. You're really going to put all of the blame on us.
No, it has nothing to do with you guys. It has to do with we parent very differently.
So you can't tell me a fight that you guys had about each other lately. Be for real. lighthearted. He didn't do the dishes. Like, let's just get to basics.
We just had that conversation last night. Actually, when did we have it? Yesterday morning. Wednesdays is one of our
I don't want to hear
days.
Okay, why do you have to bring it to something? I'm asking you for a lighthearted fight, and you're going
but
to
that's
like
when we
go
talk.
there again.
We always talk.
I get that it's healthy.
Before
I get that, but
because it's like when we
don't wanna
spend
hear it.
time together. And I said to him, because since we started Your Spicy Vegans
Yes.
on YouTube, we used to share a lot of the cooking. But since we started that, I've kind of like zoomed past him in the skill category, and he's gotten very used to what I can do now.
Yeah,
and
he's spoiled.
And so so he's spoiled. So he does make a mean vegan deli sandwich though.
I'll be trying.
I said and we've had this conversation before.
All right, lady, you're going in circles. What was the damn fight?
If I cook, he cleans.
Good deal.
If we go to you guys on family day and cook and we bring all the stuff back home, he needs to put it away.
Yeah, we don't live with each other, guys. Like they're over here so much cooking. We're over there so much. We just are close and we bounce around.
He didn't do that.
He didn't do the damn dishes.
And I was pissed. And I was like, remember our agreement. And he's like, I always do the dishes. And I'm like, you don't, because I do them. So it's little bullshit like that really gets under my skin.
But that's marriage. I feel like I'm not married, but the longest relationship I've been in, when we would fight, it was always like the most dumb things until it wasn't dumb. And
It's
then we broke
never,
up. But
it's never about the situation though. It's about how it makes you feel. It's never about the dishes.
Yeah.
It's about him not respecting something that we agreed, our agreement.
But also, so going back to the kids and you blaming all of your issues on us, but I mean, you brought us into this world, Mother. She said, now you're getting sassy.
I'm gonna dial that back.
Okay, I might be my dad's
roll it
twin,
back.
but I might be my dad's twin. But my mom and I do something to each other where we are very similar. So the more we talk, the spicier we get. Like, this is only an hour long, but we get spicier and spicier the longer we're together. But what was your last fight about? Which kid?
Riley.
All right, it's not about me, so I can't put Riley's business out there. He will be on the podcast at some point, but we're not going to share for now. Riley's going to be a guest on the podcast and tell his own story. Okay, and I want to get a little bit into life of vegans, and people are like, I hate when people say they're vegan so much and it's a whole personality trait. I don't think we're like that. Do we post our vegan food a lot? Which one of the weirdest things to me is, like I said, everyone loves her vegan chicken wings. Whenever I post a TikTok about it, it literally like goes viral because I feel like people can smell them from the phone. Like, that's the only way that's happening. They're that good. All the non-vegans in the house love them. My brother, meat eater, loves them. Janice, my roommate, loves them. I have friends come over and my mom will bring over her vegan chicken wings and everyone eats them. But why do you think people get so mad when we're like vegan chicken wing, vegan turkey, vegan steak?
Because
like, why is that so
Because
triggering?
they're like, if you want to be a vegan, then why do you have to eat chicken? I thought the whole point
like,
is
people get so triggered.
Yeah. Well, look, the kind of plant-based food, we became vegan or plant-based for our health. I also love animals. That is true.
Yeah, it wasn't for my health. It was for animals. So everyone has their own reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
But we still loved all of the meat dishes that I cooked with you guys growing up.
Yeah.
So what I've tried to do, and before we even started a YouTube channel, what I started trying to do, because we've been vegan for 5 years,
Yeah.
we've only had this YouTube channel for a year. So what I try to do is I try to recreate all of our favorites, steak, chicken.
Because we didn't stop eating meat because we don't like meat. And I actually think that that's a lot of vegans. Like, I've heard it once that someone's like, yeah, I just don't like the taste of meat. But usually it is because of health reasons or their core values or like loving animals, all that different stuff. And I also don't like when people are like, oh, well, it's not actually healthy to be vegan. Or when we make like a fast food veganish meal, they're like, I thought you were vegan. I thought you were healthy. It's like, bro, chill. Like, it's balance. The healthiest people that eat everything have days where they go to McDonald's, and if they don't, you're not living, because everyone needs those comfort foods.
Right.
But like, we don't not like meat. So yes, we try to imitate fun things, and especially me growing up, like, I was a steak and eggs girl. My dad and I, we would try to get steak into every meal if we could, but I grew up, I made the decisions I made. My dad, for his health, he had high blood pressure, and a lot of people on his side of the family are on medication and all those different things. If anything, my mom came into my dad's family's life and really started cooking and helping out in ways of just like not eating canned vegetables, not just doing all these things. But my dad had high blood pressure. They were trying all these different things. The last thing we wanted was for him to go on pills and need to do that. So, and it was terrifying. Me and my brother got into a fight one time in Harlem, and my dad literally like passed out. He was so upset, and I something happened in his body and heart racing. I don't know, but he literally like fell onto, was it your lap?
No, I think it was your lap.
Yeah, I like fell onto.
He passed out on you.
Fell onto my lap, and we were like, okay, something needs to change. Number one, we need to be better because that was scary. And number two, like his health and means everything. I remember my mom started trying using less meat, using less salt, all those different things. And being vegan has really saved my dad's life and saved him, I think, from having to go on medication.
Yeah, but he also didn't want to feel like he was deprived. So, a lot of people don't want to feel like, oh, if I go plant-based, I'm going to be like grazing on the grass outside.
Yeah.
We still, and that's something that we do that's very special about our cooking channel and our recipes that we create, is that it's very flavorful. Yeah. It's very reminiscent of old meals that you grew up on.
Yeah. No, you guys definitely go check them out. You're Spicy Vegans. It's literally what you see in all of my vlogs on TikTok of family days and what we're cooking and making. And we're working on a cooking book, so keep that in mind. I have a really cute, cool concept that it's not just going to be like recipes in there. It's going to be a little taste and inner look of our family even more. But lastly, this is more of a question, I guess, for me. Because I aspire to have what you guys have one day and to find that love, but I still don't ever want to force things or just date someone or do that monkey bar thing because I'm scared to be alone, because I'm not scared to be alone. I like my alone time. But what advice do you have for someone that hasn't found their person yet and they really, really want that, but they don't know how to go about it, or they don't know how to deal with not having that yet? Like what's your best advice?
So I coach a lot of single people. I coach a lot of newly divorced people. I coach a lot of newly widowed people. And the best relationship, the most intense relationship you should ever have in your life is with yourself. Yeah, because you really want to know who you are, what floats your boat, and you want to just treat yourself like the queen or the king that you are. You want to date yourself until that person comes into the picture that really aligns with who you are. And the more you do things that set your soul on fire, just alone with just you, the more you start showing up for yourself, and really being authentic and really stepping into that power. Energy attracts like energy. So what that means is the more you are yourself and the more you put yourself out there and expose yourself to other people as who you are, the more that person will be drawn to you that really aligns with who you are. And they'll show up. But be focused on yourself. Be focused on doing you. And be focused on getting out there and experiencing life so that you are in the pathway of that person when they come.
I love that. Well, that is wrapping it up for us here, guys. Thank you so much again to my beautiful mother.
I love you.
For being my second guest. I love you. You were amazing, so open, so yourself, so what I always aspire to be when I do the projects, when I wake up, when I live my life. Like, you are definitely my role model.
Aww.
100%.
I love you.
I love you. But thank you guys so much for tuning into episode 2. If you're still here, thank you so much. And how do we wrap the episodes up?
I don't know.
You better keep that in there. And what do we say to wrap this podcast?
Thank you for having coffee with Kyra.
I love you guys so much, and I'll see you at the next episode.
Mwah.
Mwah.